My narcissistic mother forced me to work coat check at her elite charity gala, only for the governor to reveal I actually run a $2.1 billion foundation. The text from Mom arrived at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Charity gala tonight, Grand Meridian Hotel. Need help with coat check. Be there at 5 p.m. Don't be late. Not an invitation, a summons for labor. I stared at the message while sitting in my office at the California Education Excellence Foundation, the $2.1 billion organization I'd built from nothing over the past 8 years. My office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Los Angeles. My desk held 3 awards from the past month alone, and my mother wanted me to check coats. My assistant Jennifer knocked. Director Chin, the governor's office called. He wants to confirm your attendance at tonight's gala. I looked up. Which gala? The education fundraiser at the Grand Meridian. He's giving the keynote. Wants to personally thank you for the foundation's partnership on the literacy initiative. Of course, Mom's charity gala was the same event where Governor Martinez was announcing our joint $500 million literacy program, the program I'd spent 6 months designing, the program that would provide books and tutoring to 200,000 underserved children across California. Tell the governor's office I'll be there, I said. Jennifer hesitated. Are you okay? You look troubled. Just family stuff. Anything I can help with? Not unless you want to check coats at a charity gala. She laughed, thinking I was joking. I wasn't. I was born Amy Chin, second daughter to Richard and Susan Chin. My older sister Michelle was everything they wanted, obedient, conventional, married to a dentist at 24, producing grandchildren on schedule. I was everything they feared, opinionated, ambitious, unmarried at 36, childless by choice. Mom introduced Michelle as her successful daughter. Me, she introduced as her other daughter, or sometimes just Amy. The pattern started early. Michelle got piano lessons. I got told that one child in lessons was enough. Michelle got a car for her 16th birthday. I got a lecture about earning my own money. Michelle's college was fully funded. I got loans and 3 part-time jobs. You're so independent, Mom would say, like it was a character trait instead of abandonment. When I graduated from Stanford with a degree in public policy, Dad's response was, "That's nice. Michelle just had her second baby." When I got my master's in education administration from Harvard, Mom said, "How much debt do you have now?" Michelle's husband just bought her a new house. When I became the youngest director in California's Department of Education at 28, they asked if I got health insurance. When I left to start the California Education Excellence Foundation with a $50 million grant from a tech billionaire, Mom said, "Nonprofits don't make real money. When are you going to get a stable job?" The foundation grew. Year 1, a $50 million budget. Year 2, $200 million. Year 3, $500 million. Last year, $2.1 billion in managed assets and programs. We funded 3,000 schools, trained 15,000 teachers, provided scholarships to 50,000 students, and built literacy programs in 200 districts. Our work had been featured in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Education Week. Governor Martinez called me personally to consult on education policy. The U.S. Secretary of Education had me on speed dial. I'd been named one of Forbes' 30 under 30 in education, then 40 under 40 nonprofit leaders. My mother's response to all of this, "That's nice." Michelle's oldest just made honor roll. Mom's charity work was her identity. She sat on the board of the Women's Philanthropic Society of Greater Los Angeles, a group of wealthy women who threw galas, took photos, and donated just enough money to get their names on plaques. Her proudest achievement was being named Volunteer of the Year 3 years running. Never mind that her volunteering consisted of planning parties and making phone calls. Never mind that the actual work, grant writing, program development, impact assessment, was done by paid staff she never acknowledged. Mom lived for the galas, the dresses, the photos in the society pages, and the validation from other wealthy women. Michelle was her perfect accessory, beautiful, married, and appropriately humble about her dentist husband's success. I was the embarrassment, unmarried, too educated, too accomplished in ways that made Mom uncomfortable. "You intimidate people," she told me once. "You should be more like Michelle. Men don't like women who are too successful." "I'm not trying to attract men who are intimidated by success," I'd replied. "That's why you're alone." I wasn't alone. I was selective. There's a difference. The text came with 3 follow-ups. "Wear something appropriate, nothing too flashy. We need someone reliable at coat check. You're good at that kind of work. Governor Martinez will be there. Don't embarrass the family." I almost didn't go. I almost sent a polite refusal and let Mom scramble, but Governor Martinez was counting on me being there. We'd planned the announcement together. The literacy initiative was my project, my design, my implementation strategy, my team's work. I arrived at the Grand Meridian at 4:45 p.m. I was early because years of family training had taught me that being late gave them ammunition. The ballroom was spectacular. Crystal chandeliers, tables set with gold-rimmed china, a stage with professional lighting and the state seal. Mom was near the entrance, directing staff like a general commanding troops. She saw me and frowned. "You're early. You said 5 o'clock." "I meant arrive at 5 o'clock to start working. Setup was at 4 o'clock. She thrust a black apron at me. "Coat check is through those doors. Jane will show you what to do." "Mom, I need to talk to you about tonight." "Not now, I'm busy. Just do your job and try not to draw attention to yourself. Very important people are coming." She walked away before I could respond. I stood there holding the apron, looked at it, and looked at the ballroom where Governor Martinez would be announcing my program in 3 hours. Then I did something I'd never done before. I walked to the coat check room, put on the apron, and decided to watch this play out. Jane was a sweet older woman who actually worked for the hotel. "You're Amy," she asked. "Your mother said you'd help out." "That's me." "Have you done coat check before?" "First time." She showed me the system, tags, hangers, organized rows. Simple work. Guests started arriving at 6 o'clock. I checked coats, smiled politely, and listened to conversations. "Susan Chin outdid herself this year. Did you see the centerpieces? Gorgeous. I heard the governor is coming. Susan must have incredible connections." Arrived at 6:30 with her husband Doug. She saw me behind the counter and did a double take. "Amy, what are you doing here?" "Checking coats. Mom has you working the gala? Apparently I'm good at this kind of work." Doug handed me his coat and looked uncomfortable. "That's nice of you to help." Michelle leaned in. "Are you okay? This is kind of embarrassing." "For who?" "For you. Everyone can see you working like staff." "I am staff tonight, Mom's orders." She looked like she wanted to say something else but settled for, "Well, try to stay out of sight. Important people are here." They walked away. More guests arrived. Society women in designer gowns, their husbands in custom tuxedos, everyone eager to be seen. I recognized several faces. A tech CEO whose company donated $10 million to my foundation. A state senator who'd co-sponsored education bills I'd drafted. A university president who sat on my advisory board. None of them recognized me. On a black apron behind a coat check counter. At 7:15, Mom appeared. "How's it going?" "Fine." "Good. Stay here during dinner. Someone needs to watch the coats. I'll have staff bring you a plate." "Mom." "Amy, please, don't make this difficult. Just do what I asked." She looked at me critically. "And you might want to fix your hair. You look sloppy." My hair was in a professional bun. The same style I'd worn to meetings with the governor, the U.S. Secretary of Education, and the board of directors of my $2.1 billion foundation. But to my mother, it was sloppy. She left. I stayed. At 7:30, I heard the MC welcome everyone to dinner. At 8 o'clock, I heard the speeches begin. At 8:15, Jane came back. "You should take a break. I can watch things." "It's fine, I'm good." "Sweetie, you don't have to do this. You're clearly not regular staff. I can tell." "How?" "The way you stand, the way you talk, you're educated. Probably more educated than most people in that ballroom." She smiled gently. "So why are you here checking coats?" "Because my mother asked me to." "And you always do what your mother asks?" "Tonight I do." She patted my hand. "Family is complicated. You have no idea." At 8:30, I heard Governor Martinez begin his speech. His voice carried through the ballroom doors. Warm, authoritative, genuine. "Thank you all for being here tonight. Education is the foundation of opportunity, and events like this show what our community can accomplish when we come together. Applause tonight. I want to talk about a program that will change lives. The California Literacy Initiative. Starting this fall, we will provide books, tutoring, and resources to 200,000 underserved children across our state. More applause. This program represents a $500 million investment, half from state funds, half from private partnership. And I need to acknowledge the person who made this possible. I straightened. I felt my heart rate increase. Director Amy Chin runs the California Education Excellence Foundation, the largest education nonprofit in our state. Her foundation manages $2.1 billion in programs and services. She designed this literacy initiative from the ground up. 6 months of research, hundreds of hours of planning, and today it becomes reality. The applause was louder now. "Amy, where are you? Stand up so everyone can see who's changing California education." I stood frozen in the coat check room. The ballroom went quiet. I could picture them looking around, searching. Mom's voice panicked. "She's not here. She couldn't make it, Governor Martinez." "That's strange." Her office confirmed she was attending. "Is she here, Susan?" Pause. Then Mom's voice, tight. "She's helping with coats." Silence. The kind that precedes earthquakes. Governor Martinez spoke again. "I'm sorry, helping with what?" "Coat check." She volunteered to work coat check. I heard his footsteps coming toward the coat room. Jane looked at me with wide eyes. "Honey, I think you need to go out there." "In a minute." The doors opened. Governor Martinez stood there in his tuxedo looking confused. Then he saw me. His face went from confused to shocked to absolutely furious. "Amy, what are you doing back here?" "Checking coats, Governor." "In an apron? Behind a counter?" He looked at Jane. "Is this a joke?" "No joke," I said. "My mother asked me to help with coats, so I'm helping with coats." He stared at me, then at the apron, then back at me. "Take that off, right now." "Governor." "Amy, you run a $2.1 billion foundation. You designed the program I just announced. You've been named one of the most influential education leaders in America. And you're checking coats?" My mother thought. "I don't care what your mother thought. Take off that apron and come with me." I untied the apron and handed it to Jane, who looked like she was watching a movie. Governor Martinez offered his arm. "Let's go introduce you properly." We walked into the ballroom together. The ballroom was packed. 400 people in formal wear, all turning to look at us. Governor Martinez led me to the stage. He didn't let go of my arm. He looked genuinely angry. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need to address something. When I asked Director Chin to stand, I was told she was helping with coat check." He paused for effect. "Let me be very clear. Amy Chin is not staff. She is not a volunteer. She is the director of the California Education Excellence Foundation. She manages more money than most corporations. She impacts more lives than most elected officials. And she should never, ever be checking coats at an event celebrating work she accomplished." The silence was absolute. Mom was 3 tables from the stage. Her face had gone from pink to white to gray. The champagne glass in her hand was trembling. Governor Martinez continued. "Amy, would you like to say a few words about the literacy initiative?" I stepped to the microphone. I looked out at the crowd. I found the tech CEO who donated to my foundation, the senator who co-sponsored my bills, the university president on my advisory board. All of them were staring at me like they'd seen a ghost. "Thank you, Governor Martinez," I said, my voice steady. Professional, the same voice I used in boardrooms and congressional hearings. The California Literacy Initiative represents 2 years of research and 6 months of intensive planning. My team at the Education Excellence Foundation studied literacy rates in 500 districts. We identified the barriers to reading success. We designed an intervention that provides not just books, but trained tutors, parent engagement programs, and ongoing assessment. I clicked through slides on the screen behind me. Data, charts, impact projections. In year 1, we expect to serve 50,000 children. By year 3, 200,000. Our goal is simple. Every child in California reading at grade level by 3rd grade, because literacy is the gateway to every other opportunity. I spoke for 10 minutes. I detailed the program structure and answered questions from the audience. The tech CEO raised his hand. "Director Chin, I've been funding your work for 3 years. I had no idea you were here tonight. Why didn't you say something?" "I was checking coats," I said simply. Uncomfortable laughter rippled through the room. The university president stood. "Amy, I've served on your advisory board for 2 years. You've been featured in every major education publication. How did we not know you were Susan Chin's daughter?" "My mother and I don't often discuss my work." Mom made a small sound, almost a whimper. Governor Martinez took the microphone back. "I think we've learned something important tonight. Success doesn't always look the way we expect, and we should never make assumptions about who people are based on where we find them." He looked directly at my mother. "Susan, perhaps we should talk after the gala." It wasn't a suggestion. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her fingers. It hit the table and shattered. Glass and champagne everywhere. Everyone turned to look. Michelle jumped up to help. Mom just sat there staring at me on stage. After the speech, I was surrounded. The tech CEO wanted to discuss expanding our partnership. The senator asked about education bills pending in the legislature. A dozen foundation directors wanted meetings. I smiled. I networked. I pretended this was a normal Friday night, instead of the complete destruction of my mother's carefully constructed image. Michelle appeared at my elbow. "Amy, can we talk? I'm kind of busy. Please, just 5 minutes." We stepped into a quiet hallway. Michelle looked shaken. "I had no idea about your foundation, about the governor, about any of it. I've told you multiple times. You never asked for details. You said you worked in education. I thought you meant like a teacher or an administrator. I run the largest education nonprofit in California. I've mentioned it at every family dinner for 8 years. But you never said it was worth billions. You never said you knew the governor. You made it sound small. I didn't make it sound like anything. I told you what I do. You assumed it wasn't important because Mom told you it wasn't important." Michelle's eyes filled with tears. "She had you checking coats at your own gala for your own program. She didn't know it was my program. She doesn't pay attention to my work. How could she not know? How could we not know?" I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. I saw someone who'd never had to fight for recognition, who'd been celebrated for the simple act of existing in the way our parents approved. "Because you never asked," I said quietly. "None of you ever asked what I actually do. You just assumed that because I'm not married, don't have kids, and work in a nonprofit, I must be unsuccessful. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time you asked about my work?" She opened her mouth, closed it, couldn't answer. "That's what I thought," I said. "I want to know now. Why? Because the governor validated me, because important people recognized me? Would you care if I was still in that coat room? That's not—" "Michelle, I love you, but you spent our entire lives being the daughter they wanted while I was the daughter they tolerated. Tonight doesn't change that. It just made it visible." I walked away before she could respond. Mom found me near the bar. Her makeup was smudged. Her hands were shaking. "We need to talk. Do we?" "Amy, please, not here. You made me check coats here in front of 400 people. I think here is exactly the right place." Her voice dropped to a desperate whisper. "I didn't know. About your foundation, about the governor. You never told me." "I told you 8 years ago when I started the foundation. I told you every year when our annual report came out. I told you when Forbes named me to their 30 under 30 list. I told you when we hit our first billion in managed assets." I kept my voice even, professional. "You said it was nice and changed the subject to Michelle's children. You could have insisted I pay attention. I'm your daughter. I shouldn't have to insist you care about my life. I do care. You had me checking coats, Mom, at a gala celebrating my work, my program, my achievement, and you put me in an apron and told me not to embarrass you." Her face crumpled. "I thought you were just helping out. I didn't know." "You didn't know because you never asked. In 8 years, you've never once asked for details about my work, never visited my office, never attended a foundation event, never read an article about what we do. You're so private about everything." "I'm private because every time I tried to share, you compared me to Michelle and found me wanting, so I stopped sharing." Dad appeared. He'd been watching from across the room. "Amy, your mother made a mistake. Don't embarrass her further." "Embarrass her? Dad, she had me checking coats while the governor was praising my work. She introduced me to people as her other daughter, while I run a $2.1 billion organization. She told me not to draw attention to myself at an event honoring my accomplishments. You could have spoken up. I did speak up for 8 years and you ignored me, both of you." I took a breath and steadied myself. "But tonight 400 people learned exactly who I am, not who you wanted me to be, who I actually am." Mom was crying now, full heaving sobs. People were watching, whispering. "I need to leave," I said. "Amy, wait. No, I'm done waiting. I've waited 8 years for you to see me, to value me, to be proud of me." I looked at both of them, but tonight I realized something. I don't need you to be proud. I have a foundation that serves 3,000 schools. I have a team of 200 people who respect my leadership. I have a governor who calls me for advice. That's enough. I walked away, left them standing there, left the gala, and left the family that never saw me as anything more than the other daughter. The story hit the society pages Sunday morning. Education director checking coats at her own gala. A family drama unfolds. The article was brutal, detailed the evening, quoted witnesses, and included a photo of me in the apron next to a photo of me on stage with Governor Martinez. The contrast was devastating. By Monday morning, my phone was ringing constantly. News outlets wanted interviews. Education journals wanted statements. The Foundation's board of directors wanted to understand what happened. I ignored most of them and called a staff meeting instead. Some of you may have seen the coverage from Friday's Gala, I said to my team. I want you to hear the truth from me. My family didn't know what I do. They asked me to work coat check at an event celebrating our literacy initiative. The governor recognized me and corrected the situation. My deputy director, Sarah, raised her hand. Are you okay? Honestly, I'm relieved. I've been hiding who I am from my family because they made it clear they weren't interested. Now everyone knows. The hiding is over. What do you need from us? Asked Marcus, my communications director. Nothing. Keep doing the incredible work you do. This is a personal matter. It doesn't reflect on the Foundation. Boss, Sarah said gently. It kind of does. You're the face of this organization. If people think your family doesn't respect you, then people will be seeing the truth. My family's opinion doesn't define my value. Our work does. The team applauded. After the meeting, Governor Martinez called. Amy, I owe you an apology. For what? For putting you on the spot Friday night. I was angry when I saw you in that coat room. I should have handled it more privately. You did exactly what needed to be done. My mother needed to see publicly what she refused to see privately. She called my office 3 times, wants me to issue a statement saying it was a misunderstanding. Was it a misunderstanding? No, she admitted she asked you to check coats, said she didn't realize how successful you were. Tell her there's no statement coming. The truth is the truth. He was quiet for a moment. You know, I've worked with hundreds of nonprofit directors. Most of them are desperate for recognition, for credit. You're the opposite. You do the work and don't care who knows. I care. I just don't need the validation from people who don't value me. Your parents, my sister, anyone who judges success by conventional metrics instead of actual impact. Well, for what it's worth, you have my respect and my support. Whatever you need for the Foundation. Thank you, Governor. After we hung up, I sat in my office, looked at the wall of awards, the photos with dignitaries and donors, and the framed articles about our programs. None of it mattered to my family until it embarrassed them, and somehow that was freeing. Michelle showed up at my office Tuesday afternoon. Security called. Director Chin, you have a visitor. Michelle Chin says she's your sister. Send her up. Michelle looked nervous, out of place in her suburban mom outfit among my staff in business attire. This is impressive, she said, looking around. Your office, your stuff, everything. Thank you. Can we talk? We went into my private office. I didn't offer her a seat, didn't offer coffee, just waited. I've been reading about your work, she said, all weekend, the articles, the awards, the programs you've built. Okay. Amy, why didn't you tell us? Really tell us? I did tell you. You didn't listen. But you could have made us listen, could have shown us articles, brought us to events. Michelle, I sent you our annual reports every year. Did you read them? Silence. I invited you to our 5-year anniversary gala. You said you had a PTA meeting. I don't remember that. I do, because it was the last time I invited you to anything. She sat down without invitation. Mom is devastated. Good. Amy. Michelle, Mom had me checking coats at my own gala while the governor was praising work I'd done. She told me not to embarrass her in front of important people who were there because of me. What response do you expect? She didn't know. Because she didn't ask. For 8 years, neither did you, neither did Dad. I took a breath. I'm not angry, I'm just done. Done with what? Done trying to be someone you value. Done shrinking myself to make you comfortable. Done pretending that your approval matters. Michelle's eyes filled with tears. We're family. No, we're related. Family shows up. Family pays attention. Family celebrates your success instead of ignoring it until it embarrasses them. I want to fix this. Why? Because you're embarrassed? Because your friends saw the article? Or because you actually care? She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. That's what I thought, I said quietly. Michelle, I love you, but I don't need you. I have a team of 200 people who respect my work. I have partners who value my expertise. I have impact that matters. That's enough. What about Mom and Dad? What about them? They want to apologize. Too late. Amy, Michelle, go home, take care of your kids, live your life. But don't come here expecting me to absolve you or them. I'm not angry, I'm just indifferent, and that's worse. She left crying. I went back to work. Dad sent an email Wednesday. Subject, we need to talk. I deleted it. Mom sent flowers Thursday, lilies and roses. The card read, "I'm so sorry, please call." I sent them to a children's hospital with a note from the California Education Excellence Foundation. Friday, they showed up at my office. Security called. "Your parents are here. They don't have an appointment. Tell them I'm unavailable. They're insisting it's important." I sighed and went to the lobby. They looked small, diminished. Dad in his weekend casual clothes. Mom without her usual armor of designer outfits and perfect makeup. "We need to talk," Dad said. "I'm busy." "Amy, please," Mom's voice cracked. "Everyone is talking about us, about what we did, our friends, the society women. Everyone knows." "Yes, everyone knows you had your daughter checking coats at her own gala. How embarrassing for you." "It's not about embarrassment." "Yes, it is, Mom. It's always been about embarrassment. I embarrass you by being unmarried, by working in a nonprofit, by not giving you grandchildren, by being successful in ways you don't understand." I kept my voice level, professional. "But here's the thing. Your embarrassment isn't my problem anymore." Dad stepped forward. "We're your parents. We deserve respect. You're people who raised me. Respect is earned, and you've spent 36 years showing me exactly how little you respect my choices, my career, my life." "We came to apologize," Mom said. "I don't want your apology. I want you to leave. Amy, leave. No, or I'll have security escort you out." They left. I went back to my office, back to work, back to the life I'd built without them. 6 months after the gala, the literacy initiative launched. 50,000 children in their first semester. Books delivered, tutors trained, programs running. Governor Martinez attended the launch event at an elementary school in South Los Angeles. "This program represents the best of public-private partnership," he said to the assembled media. Director Chin and her foundation turned a $500 million investment into real impact, real change, real opportunity for children who deserve it. I watched third graders read books we'd provided, saw their faces light up when they succeeded. This was what mattered. Not my mother's approval, not my family's recognition. After the event, a reporter approached. "Director Chin, there's been interest in the story from 6 months ago about your family. Would you comment?" "No, just a quick statement. My family is private, my work is public. I only discuss the work." The story ran anyway, but this time it focused on the program, the impact, the children. My family was a footnote, as it should be. 1 year after the gala, Michelle sent a birth announcement, her third child, a girl named Sophia. The card included a note. "We'd love for you to be part of her life. She should know her aunt." I sent a gift. A college savings bond worth $10,000. Didn't attend the baby shower, didn't visit the hospital, didn't respond to the invitation to talk things through. Mom sent a Christmas card, photo of Michelle's family on the front. No mention of me inside. I sent it back with a note. "You have one daughter, make sure she knows she's appreciated." Dad called on my birthday. I let it go to voicemail. His message, "Amy, it's Dad. Happy birthday. We miss you. Your mother wants to talk. Call us back." I deleted it. 2 years after the gala, the foundation hit $3 billion in managed programs. Forbes named me one of the most powerful women in nonprofit leadership. The article detailed my work, my impact, my vision for education reform. It mentioned my family once. Chin prefers to keep her personal life private, focusing instead on the work that has transformed California's education landscape. Perfect. 3 years after the gala that changed everything, I testified before Congress on education funding. My testimony was carried on C-SPAN. The New York Times quoted my recommendations. The Secretary of Education called afterward to discuss implementation. I was having dinner with my team when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Michelle. I saw you on C-SPAN. I'm proud of you." I stared at it for a long moment. Sarah noticed. "Everything okay?" "Just family stuff." "The family that didn't recognize you?" "The same." "What do you want to do?" I deleted the text, put my phone away. "Nothing. I want to do nothing, because they don't get to be proud now. They didn't earn that right. That's cold. That's honest." Marcus raised his glass. "To Director Chin, who built an empire without family support, which makes it even more impressive." "To Amy," the team echoed. We toasted, laughed, celebrated another successful quarter, another program launch, another year of impact. Later, Sarah pulled me aside. "Do you ever regret it, cutting them off?" "No, because I learned something important. You can't force people to see you. You can't make them value you. You can only build a life where their opinion doesn't matter." "And you did." "I did." That night, I went home to my house in Pasadena. 3 bedrooms, an office with a view, bookshelves full of education research and policy analysis. No photos of my family, just photos with my team, with Governor Martinez, with the teachers and students whose lives our programs touched. This was family, the people who chose me. who valued me, who showed up. My phone buzzed. Another text from Michelle. Can we talk, please? I blocked the number, poured a glass of wine, sat on my balcony overlooking the city, and felt absolutely nothing about the family who'd spent years making me feel invisible. Because the truth was simple. They'd had their chance. Thousands of chances. 36 years of chances. And they'd chosen consistently to see me as less than I was. So I'd built a life where their vision didn't matter. Where my work spoke louder than their dismissal. Where my impact overshadowed their indifference. I was Director Amy Chin, leader of a $3 billion foundation, advisor to governors and secretaries, voice for educational equity, changemaker for hundreds of thousands of children, and if my mother wanted to remember me as the daughter who checked coats, let her. The rest of the world knew the truth. And the rest of the world was all that mattered now. 5 years after the gala, I received an award from the President of the United States, the National Medal for Education Achievement, given to civilians who make extraordinary contributions to American education. I was 39 years old. The ceremony was at the White House. I brought my team, my board of directors, Governor Martinez, Sarah, Marcus, Jennifer, the people who'd built the foundation with me. Michelle sent a message through LinkedIn. Congratulations, we'd love to attend the ceremony. I didn't respond. Mom sent a letter to my office. I've been following your career. I'm so proud. Can we reconcile? I filed it. Didn't respond. At the White House, the president placed the medal around my neck. Director Chin has transformed education in America, she said. Her foundation serves over 1 million students annually. Her programs have been replicated in 43 states. Her vision is reshaping how we think about opportunity. She represents the best of American innovation and compassion. The room applauded. Cameras flashed. I shook the president's hand. And somewhere in California, my mother was probably watching. Finally seeing what I'd built. Finally understanding what she'd missed. Too late. Always too late. After the ceremony, Governor Martinez found me. Your family reached out to my office. Asked if I could help them reconnect with you. What did you say? I said you're an adult who makes her own decisions, and that some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. Thank you. He studied me. Do you ever regret it? The complete cutoff. No, because they had every opportunity to be part of this journey. They chose not to. I'm not obligated to let them celebrate the destination after they mocked the path. Fair enough. He smiled. For what it's worth, you've built something extraordinary, with or without them. That's the point, isn't it? I was always without them. They just didn't realize it until it was too late. That night, my team celebrated at a restaurant near the White House. We toasted, told stories, planned the next 5 years of programs. Sarah raised her glass one final time. To Director Chin, who proved that family is who shows up, not who shares your blood. To Amy, everyone echoed. I looked around the table. At the faces of people who'd built this with me, who valued me, who showed up every day to change lives. This was family. This was everything. And the family who'd made me check coats at my own gala 5 years ago, they were strangers now. Strangers who'd missed everything that mattered. Strangers who'd spend the rest of their lives explaining to people why they weren't at the White House ceremony, why they weren't in the photos, why Director Amy Chin, Presidential Medal recipient, never mentioned them in interviews. And I never thought about them at all. Because indifference, I'd learned, was the ultimate power reversal, not anger, not revenge, not even forgiveness. Just the complete and total absence of caring about their opinion. They'd made me invisible for 36 years, so I'd made them irrelevant. Forever.